Meeting is called to order at 6 o'clock. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We are being broadcast live over YouTube and Van Buren TV channel 12. Clerk, why would you please call the roll?
Trustee Kelly?
Here.
Trustee Norman?
Here.
Trustee Martin? Here. Trustee Frazier?
Here.
Treasurer Bud?
Here.
Clerk is present. Supervisor McNabb?
Here.
We have a form.
Thank you. First item is an executive summary of tonight. We're gonna have our consent agenda, which consists of our previous board meeting minutes, the prepaid list, the voucher list, and approval of a sub-recipient agreement from Community Development Block Grant for the amount of $20,000 to help pay for senior services in Van Buren. We have new business, which includes discussion on the selection of W.J. O'Neill to replace the HVAC units at the Township Hall. We're also doing a discussion on intergovernmental agreement with the city of Romulus for services at the Romulus Animal Shelter. We're having a discussion on special land use request for a retail store with an outdoor display and sales for Tractor Supply Company. We're doing a discussion of the first reading of an ordinance to amend the zoning ordinance to define and regulate agricultural, retail, and tourism. We're moving on to the agenda. Does anybody, would anybody like to approve the agenda?
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented. Support.
I have a motion by trustee Frazier, supported by treasurer Bud. Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Adoption of the consent agenda.
Through the chair,
Trustee Boynton,
I move that we accept the consent agenda, which consists of board meeting minutes of June 18th, the prepaid list of June 20th and June 27th, and the voucher list of July 2nd, all of 2024, and an approval of sub-recipient agreement for Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, funding with Wayne County for $20,000 for senior services salary support.
okay, I need a support.
Support.
Support by Frazier. Normally I would call for any discussion. Is there any discussion on this? Before I approve it, since we don't often have representative from Congresswoman Tingle's office here, Haley Brown. Officially, I'd like to say on behalf of Van Buren Township, thank you for the $20,000 federal grant for senior services. Thank you. Hearing any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next is the budget hearing, our public hearing, which we have none. We're now down to correspondence, announcements, and presentations. Does anybody have any? Right.
Yeah, I'd like to announce that Township Hall's administrative offices will be closed Thursday and observation of 4th of July. Also, ballots went out last Thursday, absentee ballots. Hopefully, if you live in the township, you should receive yours. Also, something new this year, we also sent out along with 4,000, 4,200, roughly 4,200 absentee ballots. We sent out also 4,200 emails indicating to residents that your ballot is on the way. And if you don't receive it within a certain period of time, to give us a call, give our office a call. So it seemed to work well. I didn't get nearly as many non-working emails that I thought I would, so most of them must have been valid. We received constant email coming back to me, so hopefully everyone received the ballots, and if you haven't, give the office a call, come in and pick yours up.
Okay. On behalf of the board, yes, we are signatory to SUNCOP, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. We, have been working more closely with SoundCog thanks to, trustee Boynton, who's been joining the board. And he was elected, as an elected position to the Transportation Coordination Council, the Regional Review Committee, but most importantly, he was elected to the SoundCog Executive Board. We're very proud of him. Thank you very much. Very cool. Would you like to tell people about what you heard on Thursday, since it's official now?
Well, the DDA has a grant in for, I don't know what the amount is. $200,000 for the supervisor, for the Safe Streets for All project. And it's basically for the sidewalks along Tyler Road and thereabouts.
More tailored, yeah.
Yep, that was granted this past Thursday. So I gave them a call. They're very, very happy to hear that notification. That's where we are right now. They were working, no, it's not, I think, but enjoy. Grant from Bill.
Yeah.
So we work on that as well. But that's my announcement so far. So far.
Did I call for a vote yet? Or most by trustee? I'll say that was just, all right, never mind. Does anybody else have any correspondence, announcements, or presentations?
I do, I almost forget. I know you guys know because that's what you, but I think trust you know. I got confirmation. I received the $341,000 back on MRA and that distribution, which is, I think is huge. I mean, I sit on the board, but I also validate the usage of anyone that's not using the MRA is really a benefit. Not only they have $1.5 million grant that you can apply for, $1.5 million in grant that you can apply for. You also get money back and that distribution refund, basically a refund check. So our insurance is approximately $420,000 a year.
No, it's about $1,040,000. You got $420,000 back last year. We're expecting that again this year. At the end of the day.
No, I'm talking about for our portion of the insurance. Our portion is about for the administrative, the township and not counting DDA and water and sewer and all that. We're like 400, our portion is 420,000. And that's what we budget every year. So we got 341,000 back, which is us about what, $8,000 short paying our insurance bill. I don't think you can beat that. I was talking to someone the other day. We got used and maybe handed it over to MRMA. I think it's a great organization. I mean, to use. They do a good job and facilitating our liabilities and just the idea that you get money back. I don't know any insurance company that does that. It's just a win-win, no brainer.
MMRMA has proven to be a very good friend. Every year we get grants. We have a cybersecurity grant we got from them last year. We got some community service money last year. We have security cameras going into all of our parks, phone grants from MMRMA. I can't think what else.
We bought a fire truck. That's fine. We bought a fire truck.
They want a fire
We
truck?
bought a fire truck too.
Was that one? Okay.
4 years ago.
Mm.
They funded our cameras, but fire.
So, and actually they're funding part of our bulletproof vest. Every 5 years get a replacement, so this is a good year. Thank you. All right, yes. Okay, anybody from the public that wishes to make an announcement? Okay. All right, moving on to the public comment. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to make a comment on today's proceedings? Anybody from the public? Dan, is there anybody online?
There has been no virtual hands raised or comments in the chat.
Move on to new business. Number one is a discussion on and to consider approval of a quote by W.J. O'Neill to replace the heating, venting, and air conditioning units at Township Hall. Can we get a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the quote by W.J. O'Neill to replace the HVAC unit at Township Hall.
Good Lord. Who said that? Okay. Sorry, Director Luckett.
Good evening, board. I'm here before you this evening for you to consider approval of W.J. O'Neill, who's been our primary vendor for our HVAC system for probably the last 2 years. So they are proven to do a pretty good job for us, keeping our old units intact. So I'm grateful to them. So with that said, again, I'm here before you for you to consider approval for the quote for W.J. O'Neill to replace 3 rooftop units.
Where are they?
They are on Township Hall here. One is located in the east part of the building, and 2 is midways of this building on the south side of the building, and 1 on the north side.
Not to the fire department.
Not for the fire department.
Okay. Thought there was 2.
That unit is a split unit, so it'll be coming in front of the real soon. This cost will be for $68,336. That expense will be coming out of the capital outlay line item 101-265-971-000. As part of the township capital improvement plan, these units, which we have 10 units that are roughly 29 years old. So the plan was to replace these units over the next 3 years. But as we see, right now, out of those 3 units, 1 is out of order right now. So we definitely have to replace that one. 1 was planned to replace along with that one. And then 1 had a problem a few weeks ago, and we added that one to the list. So with that said, as you see, the original quote from W.J. O'Neill was for $44,929. Once we assessed the repairs that it took for unit 12, we decided to add that one to the quote, which now brings that total of 3 units that's going to be replaced. Okay. So that brings that grand total to that 68,000. Again, these units are 29 years old. They've reached their useful life. We got all the life we can get out of these units. The one that's down right now, basically, it disintegrated. Fan came apart. It was just in bad shape, so we had to just take it out of service. So I'm asking before you tonight for you to approve W.J. O'Neill come in and replace these 3 units.
So the board 2 years ago developed a 5-year capital improvement plan. We're in year 2 of that, I guess. And so built into the budget already was the anticipation to replace these units.
Yeah.
So it's already budgeted. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't have a question, I have a suggestion. I think I'm okay with approving it, I think it should be in the motion though, the amount. What do you think?
What's that?
The amount that we're spending, should it be in the motion?
Should it be in the motion? Yeah, sure, you can do that.
So it shouldn't be in the motion, I think it should.
It's how much money is, yeah.
It's
Okay, so then I guess I gotta ask, Trustee Frazier, would you allow an amendment of your motion to state that the cost would be $68,336?
Yeah,
Trustee Boynton, would you amend your support? Any questions? Okay, sir.
Excuse me, I have a couple of questions. reading through it, and you had 3 bids for this work. One of the bids you disqualified because they didn't offer training units, and they wanted to sell you an amount or whatever. And as I'm looking through the packet, I see that one of the 10-ton units is a ring and not a train.
Right.
And then I see later on in the quote that they're quoting 3 training units, so I'm just trying to figure out what we actually.
Well, we're getting trained. That's consistent with what we have throughout the township hall.
And I appreciate that train is work on a lot of things. But this is specifying that this is a ring unit 10-ton RTU. So I'm just, did they make is it a typo or?
Well, these 3 units are training units, which was in the specification that we specified when, we put the quote out.
Okay, well, I'm just reading from W.J. O'Neill's letterhead from their letter that they have submitted. And it says a ring 10-ton unit, so I just want to make sure that we are actually getting a training for that ring.
They're actually getting trained, yes, sir. I'm familiar with that.
Anything else, trustee Martin? Any other questions? Okay, I've got a motion by trustee Frazier and supported by trustee Boynton. Hearing no further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Thank you, Director.
Thank you for.
Next on discussion and consider approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Romulus for animal shelter. Okay, Mr. Martin. Okay, the motion. Okay. I thought I skipped over you last time, so I'll try to get you back. Trustee Kelly.
We move to consider approval of intergovernmental agreement with the city of Romulus for services at the Romulus National Park and Shelter.
Support.
Okay. Okay, Director, Deputy Director, wait, Deputy.
Thank you, thanks, Warren. Before you today, I come to you before you for consideration to enter into this intergovernmental agreement between the city of Romulus and Van Buren Township for services at the animal shelter. A couple of things about this, our use of the animal shelter. The original agreement we entered in 2017 with the city of Romulus, and it was automatically renewing year after year after year, and they, our costs never changed. So we are paying the same cost that this year that we paid in 2017. This new proposal or this new agreement does incur some cost increases. For example, a month, our annual cost is going to be $1,000 to house dogs a month, as opposed to $650 in the old agreement. There's a stipulation that on day 8, we will have to pay $20 a day, where the previous agreement was $5 a day after day 5. So there are some costs increases that we're going to incur to utilize our shelter. And just for some reference, we averaged about 9 dogs a month in 2022 and 2023. This year so far, we're averaging around 11 dogs a month. I did ask Lieutenant Floral to conduct a review or a cost analysis of some of our other options to see what is the most cost-effective way to place to house our dogs. And this is absolutely by far the most cost-effective way to manage our animal control services by housing the dogs here at the city of Romulus. We do, anticipate probably around an $8,000 to $10,000 increase a year for the cost of housing these animals. So, if there's any questions, I would ask for your consideration to enter into this intergovernmental agreement with the city of Romulus.
Any questions?
I don't have any question, I'm okay with that, since we're talking about dogs. I do have a statement regarding dogs. We are experiencing in our subdivision, which is roughly 216 homes. We have a lot of calls regarding dog attacks, vicious dogs. We have a lot of homeowners that's bringing in cane corsos, Rottweiler, pit bulls, which are not specified that anything is wrong with these particular types of dogs. But they are attacking not only humans, they're attacking people's dogs while they're walking sidewalks. And I was, I guess we consider that what we spoke about it at large. If they have a dog they can't control, and the dog is laying in the garage and someone walks by and they attack their dog. We've had three in the last 6 months. First of all, the dogs, we actually had a show dog. The dog got attacked. He got attacked trying to take the dog, trying to help his dog. A lady just last week, my neighbor behind me, her small dog got attacked. The dog ran out of the garage. The homeowner said he didn't know the garage was open. Well, you got you can't cane course in your house and you don't know the garage door was up and he just runs out. Then we had a Rottweiler attack another person walking the dog. So that tells me, so I'm getting calls, but being the president, people are not only fearful of walking their dogs, they're fearful of walking the sidewalk, going for a walk, because they see a garage door, they don't know, they see the dog here, dog barking, they don't know if they're gonna get attacked or what. And it is, and it is getting fearless because I walk, and I noticed people, they bringing in these dogs, they putting up invisible fences, which, invisible fences is not gonna stop a dog with that magnitude. They will on pain. Cane courses were used in Asia to hunt bears and wild boars. I don't think they're used meant to be a house pet, but they're being brought in. I don't know what we can do to govern this. I don't know, I know she had you said a dog license. That may be one way of looking at it. See how these dog license start. But I think it's going to become a problem. It's not going to become a problem. If one person gets attacked, there's a problem. So I think it's something we need to look at.
Trustee Boyden?
I have a question for Deputy Chief Ponte. Kirk Wright is stating that he has received phone calls from his fellow residents, I mean, president of the HOA, or to your knowledge, do you know if Van Buren Public Safety has also received phone calls from the public at large reporting this type of behavior from them?
Yes, we have. Nobody should be fearful of walking in the neighborhood.
Right.
That's not even, it's not acceptable in any
Right.
sort of manner. We do have an ordinance for dog at large. We'll issue the ticket. If you can't control your dog and the dog wants to go after someone who walks through the neighborhood, you're gonna receive a ticket for dog at large. If your dog bites somebody, we're gonna have to take the dog and quarantine the dog to make sure the dog's not diseased in any sort of way. So we do get calls on that.
To the chair.
Trustee Martin?
Deputy Chief, these dogs that are rounded up and taken to the animal shelter, do they typically have tags on them, or are they just stray dogs with no collars, no tags?
Some have tags, some don't have tags. It's dependent. We're trying to be a little more aggressive on our Facebook account. So when an officer cleaner, animal control officer cleaner has a stray dog, regardless of if it doesn't have a tag on it, which a lot of times is the case, they're not tagged. We're trying to put these animals on Facebook because we don't want the house animals at the Rhineland Animal Shelter any longer than we have to. So we're having some successes with people seeing their dogs. They may have lost their dog and the dog ran away and seen it on Facebook and they know where to go get it. So, but it's 50-50 if it has a tag or not.
Also, I think the township should be proactive in making sure that dog owners have their dogs licensed through the township. The fee is nominal. I tried to look, what's the fee now for dog license? $5 to get a dog license. And this way we can, if your dog gets away and we find him, we can know who to contact to retrieve your dog. And that might eliminate some of these dogs going to a shelter. Plus, it's a township ordinance that all dogs are to be licensed. In fact, it's a Michigan state law that all dogs over 4 months old, shall be licensed. Which means that when you license your dog, you have to show, proof of vaccination for rabies and stuff, so we have a pretty good idea that these dogs are not ready.
So just to make sure that you're, just so you know, they asked us a little bit more, we did look at options. There were no other options that. Romulus has been undercharging us for a lot of years, and we knew this was coming. So, and they're still least expensive. Any other questions? No? No? I have a motion by trustee Kelly, it's supported by trustee Frazier. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mike. Deputy Chief. All right, next item is discussion on to consider approval of special land use request.
Through the chair,
Thank you. Clerk Wright.
I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of special land use request for retail store for outdoor display and sale for Tractor Supply. Parentheses, planning case 23-049 to be located southeast corner of Hall Road and Sumter Road. Support.
Clerk Powers.
Okay, thank you, board. Thank you for introducing this case tonight. The board has recently reviewed a rezoning request in 2 different readings in June that relate to this case before you tonight. This is a roughly 5-acre site at the southeast corner of Hull Road and Sumter Road that was rezoned to the Sumter Road Mixed Use District. And that opened the path for the site plan that you see before you, which was reviewed concurrently with the rezoning request. This is a request for a 22,047 square foot store with a roughly 26,800 square foot outdoor display and sales area. On this screen, you can see the store footprint here, outdoor display and sales here. This is for Tractor Supply, of course. The site will have extensive landscaping, 78 parking spaces, and extensive architectural treatments in accordance with what is required for the Sumter Road Overlay District, which is a overlay district that applies additional architectural and landscaping standards along Sumter Road, not quite in the same manner as you see on the Belleville Road Overlay District, but it does provide some additional formality to developments along that section of the township. And this is what we hope is the first of other developments that will be built along this corridor to bring some different mix of uses compared to the historic it's commercial and residential zoning that's kind of been a mosaic along the roadway. So this the store was reviewed in a public hearing along with the rezoning request on May 22nd. There were some favorable comments for the overall request at that time. The Planning Commission recommended conditional approval of the site plan that went with this, as well as the special land use request that you have before you tonight. I'm happy to answer any questions. I know Treasurer Bud was also part of this review, and we also have on our call via Zoom, or on our inter meeting via Zoom tonight, Derek Marine, Brian LeBrant, and Steve Whitty, respectively owners and then the engineer for this project. So I'm sure they're glad to answer any questions as well, if you'd like to speak to them directly. We didn't think it was necessary to have them here present tonight because they did have somebody here for the first rezoning meeting. Save a little bit of driving for tonight's meeting, but I'm sure they're happy to answer any questions.
Perfect. All right, anybody else have any questions? All right, we're excited to have Tractor Supply in the south. It's nice. Right. Treasurer Bud.
They have said because of the overlay district, it will be one of the nicest looking stores they have, so I think it would be a good addition for them.
Okay, I've got a motion by Clerk Wright, and it's been supported by Trustee Martin. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Next item is a discussion and consider a first reading for agricultural tourism. Could somebody please make the motion and read this? Who's it, Ms. Martin, President Martin?
Make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 7-02-24 to amend the zoning ordinance to provide definitions and regulations for agricultural, retail, and tourism. Agritourism.
Support. Okay, Director Powers.
Okay, thank you, board. As you heard, this is the first of two readings for a new set of zoning ordinance text, so zoning ordinance text amendment, and the affected section will be adding some definitions, including agricultural, retail, and tourism, community supported agriculture and truck gardening into our definitions section of our zoning ordinance, adding agricultural, retail, and tourism into our agricultural and estate zoning district as a special land use that can be pursued, and adding some parking standards for agricultural, retail, and tourism or agritourism related uses. I think just to orient everybody, I can give just a readout of the definition of what is agricultural, retail, and tourism under our new proposed zoning ordinance text. And our definition is that it's also known as agritourism is the accessory use of a portion of agricultural land for the sale of goods and services related to the farming operation as a means of supplemental income, including but not limited to U-pick operations, wineries, tasting rooms, corn mazes, and cider mills. So that just gives a sample of what we're talking about here. We have a very prominent established agritourism site in the township. The Bucks site is kind of a keystone example of that in the township here. But what we wanted to do over the past few years, recognizing that the Bucks operates on kind of an ongoing seasonal permission, kind of a temporary seasonal land use. We saw them as a good example of something that we can start to build an ordinance around, and we started to develop the ordinance as a more general ordinance that can allow other sites to establish maybe similar uses or just maybe other forms of agritourism in the township. So when we first renewed the Bucks temporary or seasonal land use for 3 more years, now 4 years, in 2021, we kind of began the process of looking at a longer term ordinance to address this. So we established an agritourism committee in 2023, and they met several times before bringing some recommendations to the planning commission. We had several meetings this year. We had one in March, one on a public hearing on April 10th. And then we had one last meeting recently where the final version of these ordinance amendments were recommended up to you on the board. So just some basics about what the ordinance allows. Again, these are uses that can be pursued in our ag district, which covers a lot of the southern portion of the township, as well as some portions of the northern end. Agritourism sites have to be 10 acres in area. There are access requirements. They have to be accessible from certain types of roadways, buffering and planting requirements. There are some flexible standards for off-street parking because in some of these big event times, we wouldn't want to have these types of sites paved to the full standard that you'd see for a year-round commercial establishment. So there's some flexible parking standards that are used. And then there are some regulations specific to these uses. And there's also a specific set of uses that are permitted under this definition, including things like corn mazes, ciders and wineries, U-pick operations, and accessory uses like playgrounds, gift shops, and other uses. And so we hope that this will be a way to bring some uniform standards for people who want to bring this type of activity onto their historically agricultural sites and meet a good high quality standard to establish these without being overly onerous to people who want to start these uses in the township. These will be special land uses, which will require a one-time site plan review and special land use review by the planning commission, and all these types of uses will come back to the board of trustees before they get permanently established. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? We're looking forward to seeing wineries pop up all across South Van Buren. Any questions?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I have a motion by trustee Martin that's been supported by trustee Blanton. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Director. Next item is reports, which we have none. Next item after that is public comments for non-agenda items. Maybe with for the public that wishes to speak on any items at all. No? Dan, is there anything online that was?
I've not seen any virtual hand raised, Supervisor.
Does the board have any comments? No? Okay. Trustee Martin.
I do have one comment. Last week, we had our ribbon cutting and grand opening for the, Van Buren Township Community Center. And I think it was a great success. From what I understand, we had over 700 people that came through to visit, on that day. And the building was magnificent. I want to give special thanks to Director Elizabeth Renault and Deputy Director Tammy Doring. And also I'd like to thank the architects and the designers and whoever had a hand in making this vision come true. I thank you very much and I appreciate you, and this is going to be a great asset too for this community.
So, if anybody would like to say, I mean, Trustee Martin didn't get a chance that day. Why don't you give us a quick update on what our first week in operations? Come on, and Tammy too, because I mean, she was crying in my house.
Tammy was
so
crying today. It's been a super busy week. I mean, I think that we knew that it was gonna be a successful first week in operations, but I think it even surpassed our wildest dreams, especially during, a holiday week. We've hit almost 100% of our membership goal budget for the year in the first week, so that's very exciting. We've heard 99% positive comments and everyone being super excited to be a part of the BBC. We have a lot more regular scheduled classes starting next week, but Open Gym has been super popular this week. Everyone talking about how they're so happy that this is in the community. They've been waiting. We had one gentleman who almost made Tammy cry again. Clearly, it's been a long week. Tammy's just crying. But that he's been waiting, 26 years to be able to have a facility like this, that he was around when the first gym opened up in Township Hall, and he, like, everyone just talking about how blown away they are and how excited. So we're very happy.
Well, I got one phrase to say. They're gonna say, if you build it, they will come. But yeah, I understand, and I think, I told you guys at the opening, you did a fantastic job. Everyone is excited. I haven't spoken to no one, I'm talking about no one doesn't think the building is not only, they tell me, gorgeous, beautiful, pretty, from pretty to whatever you can have, you can describe it. I was actually there working out this morning, I worked out a few times there, and everybody is just ecstatic of, and everything is being used. It's a jewel, and I think it's gonna be, it's something that everybody in the township is gonna appreciate for years to come. And we have been working on it. I appreciate the board for being supportive, and we putting this together, and Kevin figuring out being a money wizard like he is, to get him bringing money in. I told him he's a wizard in finding money. But that's huge, and talking to the residents, telling them about how this is not only is a beautiful building, but no cost to the residents, that's huge. Basically no cost to the residents. Very low cost. No, but we use fund balance, which basically we know where that money comes from, but so basically, it comes from a big mountain down, on the east side. Big building on the east side. But yeah, I can't stop saying enough about it. I think this is a good thing for the township. And now we gotta figure out what we're gonna do next.
Anybody else anything you guys want to say?
Across the street, across the street, we gotta start talking about it.
Number four, it is a spectacular facility. Thank you. And the addition of tile here allows people to come in, that is just something But when I talked to people, they were not anticipating if the rates are extremely reasonable. And thank you.
What he said, and thank you.
Thank you for an excellent job. What more can you say? We're lucky to have you.
So we were worried the seniors were not going to like being in the community center side. They're over there, they're working out, they're regularly, and they're walking, and they're enjoying it, and when regular people come in and sign up, and we tell them $120, they say a month, and we say, no, a year. Oh, okay, our seniors, when they say $25 for a month, we say, no, a year. They can't get over how inexpensive it is, so it's kind of more of a respect even to this. So. Yeah.
I had a gentleman the first day I came in and worked out, he said, you know, I was looking forward to this building, but I had no idea it was gonna be this great. He said, you make sure you tell the board, I'm gonna have to have no more faith in them. He said, I didn't expect anything of this magnitude.
Yeah.
And it just, it's great.
Well, again, so you guys have been great, and I just, thank you very much. I know you guys worked like crazy last few months to get it done. I know that you're now over from 6 to 9, 7 days a week, so someday you get to go home. Right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
But I got something.
Oh.
Okay. No other board comments? Call for adjournment.
So moved.
I've got so moved from Bud, support by Mornington. Any discussion? No, all